warm-up. Go ahead and pick a warm-up. You can do rudiment trio. You can do 6-stroke rolls. You can do 5-stroke rolls. Paradiddles.
Have I done 6-stroke rolls?
Yeah, it was that one with the toms. Remember that one? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See if you can make the toms bigger and make the snares softer. Create more of a disparity. Yeah, tricky, huh? It's good for your coordination, though. By the way, the toms are big and the snare is small.
Yeah, just confusing.
Okay. Well, all right, we can just jump into it then, I suppose.
No, I did not get a chance to practice.
Uh-oh.
Right. I've been a little busy trying to get drywall hung all week.
Okay. So I suppose we will get right into it. A lot of stuff to stand right now. Right there. Okay.
I have a thing. I have one of those, but with the notations right here.
So I think the way that we should start this is give me a tempo for it. A tempo that you're happy to play it at.
I'm happy to play it at the song tempo, that's why.
Okay. Then hum me the song tempo and I'll punch it in. That fast? Okay, so probably about 155. What we're going to try to do here is I'm going to have you play it once without, since you were doing so good with it last week with the music, we're going to play it once without the music, and you're going to rely on your reading and on your counting.
The one with the music was more fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'll let you play it with the music after. But this exercise has a point, right?
It sounds so weird. I'll let you do jazz after. I want to do jazz. It's so weird.
That's a good point. I feel like you're getting lost, I'll help you jump back in. But I want you to do your best to use the figures and use time to keep track of yourself, okay? Do you want me to count you in?
I gotta remember what I'm doing.
Well, that is sort of the point of the exercise, right? Is that you're going to be reaching. Yeah, it's taking away the context, which is going to make it a little bit trickier, right? Because here, let me explain it. So your ears are helping you a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're playing along with the recording, if you don't have to completely keep track of where you are because you can kind of match what's going on to what's happening in the recording, right? But this is an exercise in trying to keep track of exactly where you are with no other track at all. Why might we do something like this?
To get me to rely less on my ears?
Well, not so much that, right? It's not relying less on your ears, because as a musician, it's important to rely on your ears. That's an important thing, right? So two things. For one, sometimes recording, you're going to have nothing to go off of. I've done it with your dad a couple times. I've done it in here a couple times. They're going to put a metronome on, and you're going to have no other music, and you're going to have to keep track of where you are, even though there's no context, there's no music, there's no anything going on. You're going to have some notes written down for how many measures you're supposed to do each thing, and you got to go in dry. Okay? So that has to happen sometimes. The other one is that the better you get at keeping track of where you are without all of that stuff, how much easier is it then when we add it all back in? Then it's a piece of cake. You're chilling, right? Because you've already done a lot of the hard work. It's going to come automatically. It's similar to how way back in the day, I used to have you count out loud. Do you even remember that? Long time ago, right? You used to count everything out loud. I don't make you do that anymore. Why?
I already have.
It's so ingrained into you that it's just in your brain. Yeah? So, in fact, a lot of the times, you're probably not even really aware that you're aware of the count. You're playing things because you can feel where they go. But why are you able to feel where they go in space? It's not guessing, right?
I have this instinct.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. So, somewhere inside, we've now internalized this tempo that you can not only feel the tempo going without having to physically count, but also you're keeping track of 4-bar phrases on your own. You can kind of feel where a fill is supposed to go even if you're not sure, right? It's like, oh, this is the end of a 4-bar phrase. This is the end of an 8-bar phrase, you know? You can start to feel that stuff because we've ingrained it into you, okay? So this is designed to be a little bit harder than it is to just play along with the track.
So you think it might be a little
bit harder. So you got to be tough.
I'm just starting to like
I know.
jazz, and this is basically going the opposite way.
Here's what's going to happen, though. After you try it and it's hard and it's kind of rough, then we're going to put the music back on. Then we're going to put the music back on, and it's going to go, oh, that's right. This is actually pretty fun and pretty easy.
It is pretty fun and pretty easy with the music.
Yeah, I know. But we're always moving forward, right? I could, if the first time you complained about doing something tough and you said, I just want to play the reason instead, that was years ago. Imagine where you would be right now if instead of trying to push you to do harder things, every time you came in here, all we did was play the reason. You wouldn't really be in a very good spot. You wouldn't be able to do half the things that you can do right now. So that's my job it's my job to push you a little bit even when you don't want to. Okay? Because it always becomes worth it in the end. You even said it yourself. You were having fun with it last week, but you wouldn't be able to do it if we hadn't done all the hard work before that. Okay? So, you got to be a little bit tough. In fact, I'm willing to bet that this will get frustrating. I don't need you. Tell you what. Let's do baby steps. Let's not even do the whole thing. Is that fair?
I want to do the whole
Cut it in half.
I want to do the whole thing.
Okay? All right. It's going to be tough. If you get off, I'm going to point. You just got to get back in where you can. And remember, if you were in the middle of a figure and you just can't figure out, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of it, I don't know where to jump back in, just play time. And then when you go, oh, I know how to start here, or I know how to start here, or I know how to start here, and you finally get to a spot where you know how to jump back in, then jump back in. And nobody's going to ding you for that. Okay? As long as the attitude's correct. If you just switch over to time because you're frustrated and you don't want to try anymore, that's different. Right? So, and usually we can tell the motive. So, just switch over to time and jump back in where you can. Okay? Is this too fast or are you happy with this? What if I slow it down just a tiny bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like only 5?
Sure, 125.
Oh, 125?
Yeah.
It was, okay. That's quite a bit slower. Do da da do da 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 ba do ba do ba. Yeah?
Maybe 130?
Okay. Good here. thought it would.
Can we just do the song now?
Well, yeah, but rather than looking at it like I'm just torturing you, what did we gain from that? Think about it.
I know that song better,
Okay.
a little better now.
So tell me about your thought process. Were you singing the melody in your head?
I was trying to.
Yeah.
I messed up a lot because of that.
Oh,
I missed a lot of spaces, but
that's totally fine. That's completely
I
fine.
was doing it wrong button.
The big thing, goal number 1 was to try not to get lost.
And I got lost a few times.
That's okay. That's okay. But even if we didn't hit every figure, the point of the exercise was not to hit every figure, right? It was trying to keep it together and find your way back in. Okay? So using the melody, I like these kinds of things. A lot of charts don't have these. If they don't, I write them in. Because this helps me keep track of bars without having to just stare at a bunch of lines. You know?
Yeah.
So if I look at this whole solo section here, I can go, oh, an 8-bar phrase and another 8-bar phrase. So I can just do 2 8-bar phrases. I don't even have to look at the music because there's nothing there. You know what I mean? I can be listening for the other soloist. I could be, listening for what's going on, and I could just be playing things in an 8-bar pattern. Yeah? So that's where you have the most freedom to do your comps. You can do your fill-ins, your upbeats. You can use 3-5-4 on your ride cymbal, all kinds of stuff to make that part more interesting, right? Cool. What do you think was the hardest thing for you? What do you think was hard?
That.
So when you say that, what does that mean?
This page.
So that page, okay, but what about the page?
There was Pac-Man. I didn't really remember the melody.
Okay, so you were having a hard time hearing the music, which that is why I did this first. If we had done it in the reverse order, it would be fresh in your head and we wouldn't have gotten quite the same experience that we wanted. Okay? So, here's the deal. Whenever I'm going to put a new jazz chart in front of you, it's going to go like that first. Okay? Because you're going to try to, and it's going to be a little bit trickier when you've never heard the song before. You're going to have to look at style, and you're going to have to try to catch the rhythms as best you can. And then what'll happen is we'll put on the song, and then all of a sudden everything will make sense to you. You'll go, oh, that's how I'm supposed to play that. Oh, that's what they're doing here. Oh, that's why this is there. All of that stuff will make sense once we then put on a track. But the first things first is they call it going in cold. That's what they tend to call it. So if I were to get a call to cover for Al, which he's had me do before, I'll show up, and there was one time where they just handed me a big binder of music. And they said, okay, we're going to pull out this one, and this one. And so I just pulled those out, and they said, okay, ready? 1, 2, 1, 2. And I just had to read the whole thing cold because I didn't know. And so you can kind of listen, but you can't really predict until after you've heard it.
Was that the one where just...
No, that was a different one. Yeah, that one they didn't have any sheet music for me. They were like, oh, you just know all these, right? And I was like, nope. I'm brand new to this stuff. So that was a different one. This was after I got a little bit better at reading. I was able to kind of handle it. Okay, so now we can do it the fun way. I'll put the music on. You can, you can take some time to embellish. As we start to get better at it, we're gonna start to do other things too, like learn how to use 3-5-4 to fill.
Yeah, I never thought I'd say yay about jazz.
Well, good. I kept trying to tell you. You didn't believe me.
Shocking.
You can be stubborn. So, and then when we get over here in the solo section, it's wide open.
I'm just gonna do a little comp. I'm gonna stay back and let them have their space.
Sure. I think that's fair. I'm not necessarily. Eventually, I'm gonna have you solo there. Eventually, but that's not today.
I'm never gonna play this live.
That's neither here nor there. I don't plan on it. I don't have like a jazz band all lined up for you to jump in and play, but I think it would be fun to have you play with the jazz band at Rio. That would be kind of a real experience, right?
One step at a time.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm not in a hurry to throw you to the wolves, you know? That's not what I'm after. Granted, when Al did that to me, I learned a lot from that experience, but you got to be willing to get up and walk away from that, which I think the only reason I was is because I felt like I had no choice. So his teaching style is a bit different, but I'm very thankful
what
for.
Was his teaching style?
Well, he just threw me to a gig that I 100% did not feel prepared for, and I felt like I just bombed out and died. But then when I came back and I told him, hey, I bombed out and died, he said, okay, well, how do we make it better? And we figured out how to make it better. You know, I recovered. It didn't kill me, but I was embarrassed and scared for sure. So, alrighty, here we go. We'll put the music on.
Yay.
I probably should. We don't have Wi-Fi.
No.
Let's try that again. Okay. I had to turn Wi-Fi off.
And the middle comes out.
Yep.
That's fun.
Good. So,
It's long, but it's fun.
yeah. That's good. So, tell me some things you liked that you did, or some things that you liked.
The entire thing.
Okay. Anything specific?
The entire thing.
Well,
I like the entire thing.
That's good. Is there anything that you liked even more? Like, if you had to
When
pick
you
one thing that
pointed-
was your favorite.
When you pointed. When
Right.
you pointed, like when you went, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
that.
Okay. You know what that was? That was you had gotten lost in the figures down here.
No, there's
Or
a
it was up
second
here.
time where I just did something.
Okay.
Something.
Well, there was one
Magic
where you
Ball.
got lost in the figures and you just, I don't know where we are, just kept time and then you just jumped back in. I think you jump back in here.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, there it is. Good. That's what you should do. So not only did you get lost for a second, but you found your way back without me having to point, which that's the best thing that I can hope for. I don't need you to know where you are all the time exactly always, but the number one thing that I try to train you guys to do is to find your way back if you ever do get lost. Because that's how you get through, right? Rather than just crumbling and falling apart halfway through the song. So, you want to know a couple things that I thought were good?
What?
So first of all, are there any setups written in here?
Yes.
Yep. Any more? Or
No.
just the one?
That one.
How many did you do?
A lot.
A lot. So we ingrained it into you so much that you're just setting things up without being told to do them.
Fun.
Yeah. But you're feeling that, right? So all of this stuff that we've done that was miserable and really hard, it all has a purpose, and you're seeing it now. They don't have to write a setup in here. This was the only one that they decided to write. They even labeled it.
Like, set up.
Yeah.
Go.
But, you know, the rest of it, you weren't being told to do those setups. You just thought this is where a setup should go, and you did
Oh,
it.
good.
You'd get done with a figure, and if it ended on, like, you know, beat 3 or something like that, you'd go back into the downbeat, because we practiced that stuff.
You have drilled this in
Yeah.
me. And look what it did.
And that's what sight reading it. Let me see how I can word this. Your success with sight reading is going to be based on how quickly you can come up with a solution. So the more that we train conditioned responses, which is when you hear this, you do this. When you see this, you do this. That's going to make you successful at sight reading because you'll have a plan at least. As you get better at it, when this becomes really easy for you, then you don't have to do the same thing over and over again. You don't need do-ba-do-ba, do-ba-do-ba, do-ba-do-ba. You can do other fancier things.
3, 5, 3,
You can add your
4.
3, 5, 4s. You can do different kinds of setups. You can do, like, one of the ones that I really liked is,
I did like
where
some
is it?
extra
Here it is.
stuff.
It's this figure. Where it's do-ba-do-ba, ba-do-ba, ba-do-ba. Rather than doing do-ba-do-ba, ba-do-ba, ba-do-ba, almost every time you did do-ba-do-ba, ba-do-ba, da, boom. And you hit this big crash. You didn't do a third do-ba-do-ba, which was nice because it gave it a little bit of a flavor change. And it added some punch to it, honestly, because you just have this crash for a big dotted whole note. Or actually, it's 2 dotted half notes together. Okay.
They don't need our power.
Yeah, I guess all the power's out now.
Well, there's some light in there.
But yeah, you've got a dotted half note here and a dotted half note here. That's a big note. That's a big hold. So for you to play do-ba-do-ba, ba-do-ba, crash, you're building up energy as you go, right? So that's a nicer way to do it rather than just doing the same thing over and over and over
And
again.
ending it on a...
Yeah. So I saw a bark there.
Yes.
I saw a bark there.
I tried to make the barks.
Mm-hmm.
I knew they would.
Yeah, because it's nice because that's where there's a lot of rest afterwards. I think the one that's bait is this one. I think if you bark here, this is a little bit weird because they want you to still keep playing time. So that one's a little bit weird. So if you go for a bark, as long as you come back in right away, you know, they're telling you the end of 1, but if you were also able to come back in on 2 right away, but it does feel a little bit weird. So every time I've ever had a student hit that bark right there, it's like, well, you're doing what I showed you, but it just goes to show that the rules aren't always right. Yeah?
That's true.
It's just going to work most of the time.
Well,
Okay?
you've had other students do this.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Wyatt does this.
Has Mason done this yet?
No, Mason can't do this. Aiden is doing some jazz sight reading now. And Jackson. Those are my 3 kids that are in Mr. Bacalli's jazz band, which is why they're learning how to read jazz charts like this, because they're playing in a jazz band twice a week, like with other kids their age, and like having to learn how to do solos and stuff. Okay. So what I want to talk about now is I want to talk about how to use 3, 5, 4 for like fills and stuff. Okay. So first of all, this is a 2-bar fill, meaning
3,
you could
5,
do.
4, 5, 4.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. 3, 5, 4, 5, 4, 3. However, we're gonna change one little thing because you bark on the end of 4. If you bark on the end of 4, you can't start on 1 because you're barking on the end of 4. It eliminates the impact of the end of 4. So really what you're gonna do is you're gonna come in on the end of 1. Do ba do bark. Boom. Yeah? So,
It's been a long time since I've done 3, 5, 4.
and well, that's why we need to go over it. So, what I'm going to start you with is basically, so play just your 3, 5, 4 one time for me real quick.
Just,
We don't have to put headphones on. You can kind of take it easy.
just 3, 5, 4.
Yep. So just 3, 5, 4 and play it. Okay. So now, because we barked on the end of 4, we're gonna leave out the first 2 triplets. So instead of boom bop bop, you're just gonna play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go nice and slow. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you get your double on the end of the 5. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. There it is. So, all we're gonna do is because we're coming in on the end of 1, you're gonna. So you're gonna play all 1. Yep. So you're basically cutting most of beat 1 out. And then because it's 2 bars, the bump, 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 bump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Boom. But this is going to be totally worth it because you'll use it all the time. Okay? So I'm going to make one other little change. Go ahead and swap with me real quick.
Use my sticks. I can handle this thing.
Okay. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Right? So, but that's not setting up the band. So how can we do it in a way that sets up the band? It's actually a
4 setup.
Very close. That's a very good idea. All you do is instead of hitting the 1, 2, 3, just hit a snare drum. So the whole thing is going to be.
It's literally 5, 4, 5, 4.
Mm-hmm. A 5, 4, because you do have a pickup.
4,
a 5, 4, 5, 4, 1. Yeah. So not so bad, right? But it works out kind of nice. And then once you get good at that, like one of the way I use it like this all the time. So I use that. So that's one that I use a lot. So this is an adaptation of that so that you can do the full 2 measures there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So I would like you to work on that this week so that you can use that, because a lot of times in these charts you're going to have 2 bar fills. You can also work out for 1. If you do it for only 1 bar, the one that I use is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. So it's just 5 and 2. So that's the one that I like when I only have 1 measure. And just a reminder, this is only when you're coming after an upbeat on the and of 4. Because if you don't have that, you can just come in on 1, right? Yeah? You're listening?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's try that a little bit, and then
He wants to write it down so he doesn't forget. That's
Okay.
what he's.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Good idea.
Council,
get-
what's the date today?
21. Yeah, 21.
Alright.
So 11/21. So I would write broken 3/5/4 4 2-bar fills. Broken 3/5/4 4 FOR 2-bar fills. And then underneath it, what you're gonna write is a 1 2 3 4 5. Or how about, you don't have to write it all out. How about
I will.
5 4.
How do you write
You need because that's going to be the pickup
how
that's
do
going to
you
get you in
write
there. Just a lowercase a is what I do. 5 4,
5 4.
and then put a little dash for the next measure, and then 5 4 1.
It looks like A54/55.
Okay, and you can work on that at home, and you'll get to use it a lot. Okay,
It
doke.
just looks like I'm doing math.
All right. So, did you mention that he had a song that he wanted to work on today?
Yes.
Something like that.
846.
Okay.
Yes, it's kind of got that jazzy swing
Yeah.
feel.
Oh, good.
MXPX Chick Magnet.
Okay.
And I'm going back to junior high.
Nice.
Yay! That way you can actually have hair.
I do have hair. It just comes out in all the different places now. The ears, the back, you know.
Too savage. What the heck?
That way you actually have hair, more hair on your head. Long hair.
I haven't had long hair in a long time.
You
It's too hard to keep track. It's too hard to deal with.
It is a lot to deal with.
See.
I haven't had it long since high school. Say the name of it again.
Chick Magnet
Chick
MXPX.
Magnet MXPX.
There it is. Okay, so what are we doing here? Are we listening and getting ideas? Do you already have something and you're just wanting to show it
I
to me?
have something.
Okay. Is that what the plan is?
I guess.
Okay. One thing that would help me a lot, I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit because I need to be able to hear the track underneath you as well. So if anything, play a little bit on the quieter side compared to what you normally do so that I can also hear the track. Okie doke?
Yeah, sounds like you're doubling the kick drum time too.
I'll start you over from the beginning.
was actually closer to completing that song than I thought he was.
So, sounds fun to play. It's kind of reinforcing more of your swing stuff. There is one thing I wanted to hear though, because I wanted to. Let me see. I think it was
Potato.
verse 2.
Come to the ladies.
So,
that switch part.
yeah. So first of all, it's cool that you caught the switching back and forth because you can definitely hear it in the recording. The other one was you were doing the jazz setup, which I thought was kind of fun, whereas he does this kind of up.
I do.
You do.
I do like.
Yeah. But it works, obviously. It's a small difference. I just was curious if you heard that or if you were picking that up from our jazz work. So
Maybe both, because
yeah,
jazz is
probably a
fun.
little bit of both.
Jazz
Okay.
is getting more fun.
Good.
One time.
That has been a long time coming.